Today's June 27th and it's currently 7:15 p.m. I've recently started looking into changing my apartment, maybe moving into a different one instead of this one. And it's not because my current apartment has anything wrong with it or anything like that. In fact, it's actually really nice and it's actually at a pretty good price for what it is. But rather, I've been looking into changing my environment and more specifically how I perceive my environment. Because something that I've realized over the past few years is that the environment around me and especially how I perceive that environment is extremely important to how I live my day to day life. So I'll give you an example. At my desk, I do all my studying, all my work, but it's also where I do all of my gaming and watching videos, right? And so every time I come and sit down on my desk, these different activities that I do at them are all fighting for my attention, for my time, right? And naturally, whatever is going to be the most fun or the most engaging is going to surface on top most of the time, right? And so what I've kind of started doing is if I'm studying for something really important, I'll study somewhere else, maybe in the living room or on campus or something like that. And that's purely just because my brain has started to associate my desk with leisure and just playing games or something like that instead of what it's supposed to be initially for, which is studying and getting work done, right? Another example could be the fact that this desk is in my bedroom, right? My bedroom is supposed to be a place where I rest, where I sleep, where I relax, where I'm not necessarily supposed to be doing a lot of work. And the fact that my desk is in this room kind of mixes those two different feelings together in a way. I've kind of realized that this dynamic is happening everywhere in my life, like not necessarily just environments, but also time of day or what I eat, right? There's certain things that I associate with certain feelings and activities that if I just completely break free of, then like there's nothing holding me back in any regard whatsoever. Another example could be somehow I don't even know how this happened, but somehow I've kind of associated with nighttime or it being dark outside with me not doing any work at all, right? Like if I come home after it's dark outside, the chances of me studying or working are extremely low, and I'll probably just end up making food and chilling for the rest of the night. And it's only when I have an extremely close deadline or an extremely difficult exam the next day where I'll actually spend the night doing something productive, right? And that's not to say that I guess I'm wasting my nights because I'm not spending every second of every night working or studying, but rather that I have such a mental block when it comes to doing that it's like it's almost forced into my brain that I if it's nighttime I cannot study and I cannot work. It just simply will not happen. And the problem with that is that if I don't wake up early in the morning and I don't go out and actually study and work, then I won't in the rest of the day either, right? And this is just another example of these really weird mental blocks that have kind of developed along with these, I don't know, perceptions of my environment that I think are very arbitrary and I don't even know how they came to be. But I think they're holding me back in such a invisible way. And I don't know if this is a common thing at all or if this is just some really weird phenomenon that's kind of happening with me. And either way, like it's extremely annoying. It's something that I need to break free of. Otherwise, like whatever environment I do go up in, where like even if I change my apartment, right? How long will it take for me to reform these mental connections with my environment and just have the same cycle all over again, right? And it's not like you can have, or it's not like you can't not do that, but it's just not very viable to have a specific place where you work and study and you simply cannot do anything else, right? You're bound to have your phone with you. You're bound to, want to relax in between work sessions and stuff like that, right? And so I don't know. I'm not really sure what the solution to this is. I think it's more of a mental solution. There's more of a mental solution than simply just changing my environment or moving to a different place or having a dedicated office versus having my desk in my bedroom. Either way, like I think if I still continue to reform that mental block at the end, like it's just gonna it's I don't know, it's inevitable. Like it's just gonna keep happening over and over again. And perhaps it's simply just like the fragility of my mind because the same aspects of my mind that cause me to, keep wasting time and keep, I don't know, watching YouTube videos and playing games all the time instead of doing other things. Like that same fragility of the mind, that same weakness to distraction and loss of attention, perhaps those aspects are contributing to this in some form. And if I can kind of be able to step back and take control of my own brain and body in a way, then maybe this won't be so much as a problem. Like perhaps it's not. It's more of like just a discipline and motivation problem where I need to be like if I'm at my desk, I need to kind of already know what I'm going to do and have a goal for it instead of just sitting down and I don't know expecting to get work done without a plan because the second I sit down and there's nothing or I'm met with like any kind of difficulty at all, I'll immediately turn towards something that I'm comfortable with, right? Which is going to be social media and games and stuff like that. But if I can kind of make it clear to myself why I'm sitting down here and what I'm doing, so I'm doing everything with a purpose and being purposeful with every single action that I do, then I don't know, that might be a way to kind of step away from this toxic behavioral cycle that I've kind of been experiencing. Another aspect of that is just overall discipline, right? Like I feel like my discipline overall has just been horrible this past, I guess, past 2 years. And I think it's simply just a muscle that needs to be rebuilt. Like I've simply just crushed it. Have just destroyed that muscle. Like it's just been completely atrophied over the past 2 years because I haven't really had anything that difficult to do. And I've had much more time spent on just general leisure and relaxation compared to working and productivity and getting stuff done and working towards goals that I've kind of lost the ability to force myself to do something for a certain period of time. And I think just generally being in a better state of mind combined with a more optimized environment will just generally make my I don't know living situation a lot better. Ultimately, my goal is not to just have like a specific place where I do all my work and nothing ever leaves that room, right? Like I want to have a place that's I guess hybrid and flexible where I can do different things at different times whenever I need, whenever I want, right? But I think the underlying issue is not necessarily the environment or I guess the routines that I'm doing, but more specifically the mentality behind all of that and the fact that even if I do change my environment, like I'm still gonna fall back into those same cycles. So I instead need to actually work on breaking those cycles and not re-falling into those cycles in the first place. Yeah. Thank you for listening. See you next time.